Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm standing again in front of my bookshelf like I did in my Harry video. Today I'm going to be talking about books. So if you're coming to my channel for the vlogs or because you just like to watch me, something you should know is I love to read. I've been in the biggest reading slump of my life, but because of Christmas, you know, I got some gift cards, some books, all the reading vlogs to wrap up the year coming out on BookTube, and I'm just like, this season I always like just want to read every book because like I said, I'm watching all these videos, I'm getting all these gift cards. So I was looking at my shelf last night and I just don't have any more room for books. And the sad part is majority of this shelf is unread. I'll go to Barnes & Noble and I'll buy like 7 books and I'll only read like 3 of them at the time I get them. And then when it's been like a year, I'm just like not interested anymore. So last night I did a deep unhaul, and right after I finished, I was like, I should have filmed that. So you can't see it, but I have a pile next to me of about 40 or so books I'm going to be selling to the Strand, I think. I'm gonna go tomorrow, so maybe I'll throw in some vlog clips. I'm not really sure how that works. I've never done it, but I'm gonna try to do that. So I thought in this video I would show you guys the books I'm unhauling and then redo my shelves with you guys. So I kind of already started to do my fantasy shelf, but we'll talk all about this stuff after. I just want to get into the books I'm unhauling. Just a disclaimer, if I'm unhauling a book that you favor, please forgive me. I think I'm going to show you each. I kind of categorize them in separate piles. Random hardcovers that I have. So first, I have Sociable by Rebecca Harrington, which is like a satire novel, which I got last summer and I've just never picked it up and I don't really think I'm that interested. The cover is really pretty and that's kind of why I've held on to it, but I just don't see myself reading this anytime soon. Next, I have Panic by Lauren Oliver. Guys, I've had this book for 5 years. If I haven't picked it up now, will I ever? And then I have We All Looked Up by Tommy Wallach, and this book I got at Target, which I've seen at Target for years, and one day I was like, okay, I'll just get it, which I shouldn't have done because I'm not interested. Next, I have fantasy books that I'm going to be getting rid of. So first, I have The Heir and the Crown by Kiara Class, which are the 4th and 5th book in the Selection series, which I don't know where it went, but I have the Selection series and I actually loved that series. I did have some issues with America, but I really loved that series and I was just kind of like reading it one after the other. Opened this book, I was like, who is speaking? So this is more of a companion duology to the original trilogy and I just like don't care. I was so mad when I opened the 4th book and it wasn't America talking. I was really mad, so these are gonna go. Okay, so next I am going to be getting rid of An Ember in the Ashes by Sahaba Tahir and A Torch Against the Night by Sahaba Tahir. So I was at BookCon in 2018 and I was like, you know what, let me just get this because A Reaper at the Gates was coming out. And I was like, okay, like let me get on this bandwagon. And I read up to, I think the page is still marked. I read up to page 232 and I just was so bored. I was waiting for the romance to pick up. It wasn't picking up. I was debating keeping this one, but I think it'd be better for someone else to read it because it's just not gonna, I'm just not gonna read it. I'm sorry. Last in fantasy, I have Cinder, which is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. This is another book I got at the same time I bought Panic, so around 5 years ago. And again, if I haven't read it by now, I don't think I'll ever read it. And there are so many other books that I really want to get to. I actually have one more fantasy book, and that is The Beholder by Anna Bright. So this book I got in a fairy loot box, and it has the pink sprayed edges. And I'm pretty sure it's signed by the author, which is really cool. I think this is an exclusive copy. I think the pink sprayed edges is just like subjective to fairy loot. You know, I didn't obviously pick this book out and I didn't really hear anything about this book after the boxes were sent out. Again, there are so many other books I want to read. I don't think I'll ever pick this one up. I kind of want to keep it just because it's pink sprayed edges and it's cute, but I don't even display my books that way, so you wouldn't even really tell. So I'm going to be getting rid of this one. The next category I have are hardcover contemporary. So I only have 3 because I typically read hardcover and paperback. So first I have Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. This book I like never picked up when it first came out and I kept looking at it. So one day in Target I was like, you know what, let me buy it. I just thought the writing style was really immature and I just was not interested at the time. I actually have heard a lot of people don't like it, so this one's gonna go. The next book I have is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and this was a book that I had been eyeing for years and I felt really left out, so eventually I picked it up. I got through about halfway. I don't know if you can see. And I was so confused. I did not know what was supposed to be happening. I didn't know the plot of the book. And I was more than halfway through. All the characters were, I just was so confused. Maybe it was just me being like stupid. I don't know. This isn't a book I will ever reread or continue. It's really pretty. So that's kind of why I've held on to it. I know it's popular, but it's time to go. And the last hardcover contemporary I have is 99 Days by Katie Katungo, which I read and really enjoyed. It's just not something I'll ever reread. Again, the cover is really nice, but It's just I have other contemporaries I want to get to. Before we get into the large portion of unhauling, I'm going to be getting rid of Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. This book I got because it was really popular on like Visco. I don't like poetry. Fun fact, I actually hate poetry. LOL. So yeah, I mean, I kind of just had it for the hype and I don't actually want it. So now we're gonna get into the big daddy load. I have 2 really tall stacks of paperback contemporaries. So I have 1 stack of books that I read that I just didn't like or don't want to continue, and then I have 1 stack of books that I will never read. First, I'm going to go into the books that I've read and didn't like, and I'll talk a little bit about why I didn't like them. I have 99% Mine by Sally Thorne, which I was really excited about. I wasn't the biggest fan of The Hating Game, but I did enjoy it. I'm not getting rid of that. So I was really excited when this came out. I got through like halfway and it really didn't do anything for me. The next book I have is The Wedding Date by Jasmine Galori. This is a signed copy from Target, and I was so excited when this book came out because I really enjoyed the cover. I just thought the concept was really good, but I just thought it was kind of written immaturely. I kind of wanted more out of the story, and it didn't fill my expectations, and I was disappointed in the end. Next, I have Everything by Nicola Yoon. This book, obviously, it's a movie, Nick Robinson. I read the book and I thought it was like whatever. I saw the movie and I liked the movie more. Usually I like the novels more, but I didn't even love the movie. I liked it. I thought there was a scene in the movie that could have been done so much better, so I went to the book to find the better scene, and they did it just as bad. So it's just not for me. Next, I have The F It List by Julia Halpern. This book I read probably in 2014 and I loved it when I read it, but I've grown as a reader and I don't think I'd ever pick this back up again. If I did read it again, I wouldn't like it as much because it is a little premature, so this one's gonna have to go. Then I have The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. I was so excited for this book because obviously she wrote Simon and the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I just have not picked it up. I started it and I didn't DNF it, but I just kind of lost interest and I will never pick it up again, so I need space on my shelf. Sadly, that one has to go. Then I have Roomies by Christina Lauren. So Christina Lauren for me is kind of hit or miss. I've read a lot of their books. Like Love and Other Words is one of my favorite books of all time and I will never get rid of it. It's so but Roomies, I expected a lot more out of the story. It was just a little like, it kind of was like every other story. It didn't really do much for me. The last couple books in the pile of ones I've read, I have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, which this might be a shock to some people because I know it's very loved. I got more than halfway through the book and it just was not what I expected. I did not like where the story was going. Again, I thought it was a little too premature. I know it's really highly loved. I think it's like one of the contenders for the Goodreads Best Book of 2019, but it just, I don't know, we didn't connect. Next, I have Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Eliar Sands. I did enjoy, but I wasn't like over the moon about it, and I know so many people love it, so I thought I need space on my shelf. If I give this to the Strand, someone else can love it and buy it and do it justice, because I just thought it was another book for me. Next, I have Faker by Sarah Smith. This is a pretty new release, but it was just too cheesy for me. I feel like I pick out books that are too, like, they're just not my style, and I'm kind of learning my style, and this is a book that is just not for me. Now I'm going to go through the paperback contemporaries I have never read, and then this will be the last of the unhauls. So first I have Fight or Flight by Samantha Young, which I purchased recently because again, I really am drawn to these covers with like the people on them, and I never end up liking them, and now I've lost interest. I have Mr. Nice Guy by Jennifer Miller and Jason Pfeiffer, and I was so excited to read this, but I read some Goodreads reviews and they really turned me off, and I haven't picked it up since I've bought it, so I don't think I'll ever read it. Goodreads really did me dirty. I have A Little Something Different by Sandy Hall and Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. I've had this book for years, and again, I've never read it. This book I didn't mean to buy. I thought it was a different book, and then when I got into the car I was like, oh. I have Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver and 6 Months Later by Natalie D. Richard. I have Dumplin' by Julie Murphy, which I got before I knew it was a movie, and then when it became a movie I kind of was turned off and I was like annoyed, so I don't see myself picking this one up. Then I have The Treatment by Suzanne Young. So I've read the program, which is right here, and I was obsessed with the program. I think I read it in like 7th grade, but I didn't get the sequel until like years later, and I don't really plan to reread the program, although I really did love it. I don't think I'll ever reread it, and in order to move on to this one, I need to be like refreshed, and I don't really want to reread the program. So the last 2 books I have to unhaul are An Abundance of Catherines by John Green, which again, I've just never read. I kind of always wanted to read read it and I'm a little hesitant to get rid of it. I just know there's so many other books I'm more excited about and I probably won't get around to it. Lastly, I have Top 10 by Kitty Katungo. Again, the Little People really got me, but I'm just honestly not interested, so this one's gonna have to go. I just counted the books and I already forgot, but I think in total I will be unhauling 34 books, which is a lot of books, and I feel like I have no books now. I did another major unhaul probably a few months ago and I had my cousin take them all. That was probably around the same 30 books, so I've gotten rid of a lot, but hopefully going into the new year I can now buy more books that I actually want to read and have room on my shelf. It's Monday, December 30th. We're at the Strand. It's right there. So he has a backpack. I have a backpack. There's 34 books total. I've never done this before. So we're in the Strand. They just sold my books. Yeah, they took 30 of them. They gave me back 4. And they only gave me $29, which is fine. I just expected more, you know. I got something back, but like, I just expected a little more because I have a few hardcover, like, signed ones. Like, they're nothing crazy, but a little disappointing, but it's okay. So yeah, that was my experience. It was really convenient and like really quick, so I would recommend it. It's just kind of annoying that it's like only $1 a book, but whatever. So as for my shelves, I have this one bookcase I got at Target. I think it was around $30. I have 4 shelves of books, and then I have like a wider one at the bottom that I have like storage in. So I've always had 1 fantasy shelf and then 3 contemporary shelves, but I'm really trying to get into fantasy. Like 2 days ago, I went to Barnes & Noble. I picked up The Cruel Prince, Shadow and Bone, and 6 of Crows because I really want to start these series to get into the fantasy world. I know 6 of Crows is very loved. I plan to read that first, and The Cruel Prince, the 3rd and final book in the trilogy, just came out, and this was just pretty to me. So I do want to get into fantasy again. I mainly read contemporary, or I'll read like romance driven fantasy. I have not read Throne of Glass yet, but I love Sarah J Maas. A Court of Mist of Heroes is my favorite book ever, so I do plan to read that, just not right now. So I need to have room for these as well as a few other fantasy books I do have. So I have obviously all of the hardcover Harry Potter books, and if you guys want a tip, I bought the majority of them at a thrift store in the city called Housing Works Bookstore Cafe. They're a used bookstore. They're really great. It's all volunteer workers, and they always have these books on sale. I got the Order of the Phoenix at the Strand, and it was like pretty close to retail price. So if you guys want the hardcovers, which are really expensive, I would definitely recommend checking your thrift stores because I always find them and they're in perfect condition. Then I just have some Funkos and some Legos of Harry Potter. I have Batman Nightwalker by Marie Lu, which is part of the DC Icon series, which is something I do want to get into. And then I have the A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy and A Court of Frost and Starlight in hardcover because, you know, that's how they come out, and that one's fairly new. I have the first 2 books in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas, and then I have the paperback copies of the Shadow Me trilogy. I have this little candle that I got in the same Fairy Loot box. So I'm not really sure how I want to organize them. I think I'm just going to line them up pretty regular, nothing crazy. I think here I'm going to put books that I haven't read and I want to read because that's kind of your eye level, and then I'll go into like books I like and like my favorite books. I'm not really sure, so let me just mess around. I think for now, being that I probably have like 7 more fantasy books, so I'm assuming if I do like these, that's 3, 6, 8 books that I'll have to add to my shelf. I'm currently reading Conceal Don't Feel, which is a part of the Disney Twisted Tales books, so that's another book for the shelf. I'll probably place those here, but actually I just forgot. This is my Colleen Hoover collection. Colleen Hoover is probably my favorite author. Again, I am more of a contemporary reader, and I've loved pretty much all of her books. If you're curious, I did not like Slammed, and I pretty much hated It Ends With Us, but other than that, I have fallen head over heels with her writing. I think I'm going to stack them like this, the same way I did Harry Potter, because it takes up less space. We'll put that on this shelf, so I'll make this shelf my favorite. But I kind of want to like have fantasy all together. Guys, I don't know. I should have probably like had a plan if I was going to film it. I don't know if I should just do it myself and show you guys afterwards, like a tour, because I genuinely don't really know what I want to do. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it myself, and then I'll come back and show you guys like a tour because I feel like I'm getting distracted. I need to like focus and see what I want to do. So I think this is what we're going to settle with in the end of this video. Let me go through really quickly and explain each shelf. Obviously, you guys saw my fantasy shelf. This is pretty much how it's going to be for now. So like I said with this one, it's not complete, but I do plan to extend these series and actually read them. So hopefully it'll fill up this shelf. I was being lazy. I didn't feel like getting my decoration, so I just threw up this fake plant from IKEA and a Beauty and the Beast little Funko set. For my first contemporary shelf, I have, of course, all the Colleen Hoover books. And then down here, if you guys can see, it's a little dark, I have all of my hardcover contemporaries. And then towards the right, I have just some of my old favorites. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I don't really love how it looks and it's kind of going to bother me, but hopefully it'll encourage me to read more. That's definitely a resolution I have going into the new year. If you liked me talking about books, again, like this video, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. That was really cheesy.